The massive crystal chamber on Nexar Prime hummed with energy as 12 different alien species gathered for the monthly council meeting. The room was enormous, built to hold beings of vastly different sizes and needs. Some floated in energy fields, others stood on thick legs, and a few hung from the ceiling like bats. Veltar, the reptilian chairman, sat at the center of the circular table. His cold yellow eyes scanned the assembled representatives as his forked tongue tasted the air. He had been leading these meetings for over 50 cycles, and today's agenda was particularly interesting. "We are here to discuss the newest discovery," Veltar announced, his voice carrying clearly through the chamber's translation systems. "A world in the outer spiral arm. Third planet from a yellow star. The survey team calls it Earth." Mordun, the insectoid military strategist, clicked his mandibles excitedly. His forearms gestured as he spoke.
"I have reviewed all the reports, Chairman.
This world is perfect for immediate conquest, rich in resources, abundant water, and most importantly, populated by primitives." The other council members leaned forward with interest. New worlds meant new resources, new slaves, and new territories to add to their ever-expanding galactic empire. Chinara, a being of pure energy contained within a crystalline shell, pulsed with different colors as she communicated. "The scientific data is quite remarkable. The dominant species calls itself human. They have only recently discovered nuclear fission and have barely left their home planet. Their technology level is at least 3,000 cycles behind our most backward member species." A rumbling laugh came from Theknos, a massive creature that looked like a walking mountain of stone. 3,000 cycles behind us? How do they even survive? Do they still use chemical combustion for energy? "Yes," Chinara confirmed, her crystalline form glowing brighter with amusement. "They burn ancient organic matter for power. They have not even mastered fusion properly. Their space travel is limited to chemical rockets that can barely reach their own moon." Veltar pulled up a holographic display showing Earth from space. The blue and green planet rotated slowly, showing white clouds swirling over the surface. "Beautiful world. Perfect gravity, ideal atmosphere composition, vast oceans full of life. The humans have done excellent work maintaining the biosphere, even if they do not realize it." "How many of these humans exist?" asked Zixara, a tall, thin creature with multiple tentacles instead of arms. "Current population is approximately 8 billion individuals," Morden replied, consulting his tactical display. "They are divided into nearly 200 separate nations, constantly fighting among themselves. They have not achieved global unity despite living on such a small world." The council members exchanged looks of disbelief and amusement. The idea of a species being unable to unite their own homeworld was almost incomprehensible to them. "They fight each other while sharing the same planet?" Theknos rumbled. "What do they fight about?" "Everything," Morden answered. "Territory, resources, belief systems, skin color variations, historical grievances. Their largest nations spend enormous amounts of resources building weapons to use against each other, instead of developing space travel or planetary defense systems." Veltar nodded slowly. "This makes our decision simple. A divided species cannot mount effective resistance against a unified galactic force. What is the military assessment?" Morden's display changed to show various human weapons and military installations. Primitive kinetic weapons, crude explosive devices, and basic nuclear warheads. Their most advanced fighters cannot even leave their atmosphere effectively. They have no planetary defense grid, no orbital stations, no deep space monitoring systems. A standard invasion fleet could conquer this world in less than one cycle. "What about their numbers?" asked another council member. 8 billion is not insignificant. Quantity means nothing without quality," Morden replied confidently. "Our individual soldiers are stronger, faster, and better equipped than thousands of humans. Our ships are invulnerable to their weapons. Our technology is so advanced they would mistake it for magic." Chinara pulsed thoughtfully. "I have studied their communication systems. They have something called the Internet, where they share information globally. However, they primarily use it for entertainment and arguing with each other. They show little interest in unified scientific advancement or military cooperation." "Perfect," Veltar hissed with satisfaction. "A distracted population is an easily conquered population." "What about their resources?" The display changed to show Earth's mineral wealth, water reserves, and biological diversity. The numbers made several council members gasp with greed. Abundant rare Earth elements, vast freshwater reserves, incredible biodiversity, and fertile agricultural land covering entire continents, Chinara reported. The humans have barely touched their planet's potential. With proper management, Earth could supply raw materials for our empire for 10,000 cycles. And the humans themselves? Veltar inquired. Excellent potential as a labor force, Morden answered. They are physically adaptable, reasonably intelligent despite their technological limitations, and show strong work ethics. They would make valuable additions to our slave populations. The chamber fell silent as each representative considered the proposal. Earth was exactly what they had been looking for. A rich world populated by primitives who could not possibly resist their superior technology and organization. I call for a formal vote, Veltar announced. All in favor of immediate military conquest of the world designated Earth? One by one, every single representative raised their hand, tentacle, claw, or energy field in agreement. The vote was unanimous. Excellent, Veltar said, his reptilian features showing satisfaction. Admiral Kexthar will lead the conquest fleet. Standard protocol. Demonstrate superior firepower, demand surrender, occupy major population centers, and establish control grid. The humans will surrender quickly once they understand they cannot win. Morden was already planning the invasion details. I recommend targeting their major cities first. Once their primitive governments collapse, the rural populations will have no choice but to submit. Their divided nature works in our favor. How long until the fleet can depart? Veltar asked. 2 cycles to assemble the invasion force, 1 cycle travel time to Earth, Morden calculated. The conquest itself should take no more than 10 local days. These humans have no idea what is coming. The council members began discussing the distribution of Earth's resources among their species. They talked about which regions would be best for mining operations, where to establish slave processing centers, and how to manage the human population most efficiently. None of them noticed that their communication systems had been quietly monitored for the past several months. Deep in space, hidden behind Earth's moon, a small observation station recorded every word of their conversation. The humans had been listening, learning, and preparing, but the Galactic Dominion Council remained blissfully unaware that their primitive target had been watching them long before they had discovered Earth. The invasion would proceed exactly as planned, and the humans would be ready. 3 months after the Council's decision, Admiral Kexthar stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Dominator, watching Earth grow larger on the main screen. His scaled hands gripped the command chair as he studied the small blue world that would soon become another trophy in his long military career. Final approach complete. Admiral, reported his navigation officer, all ships in position for standard conquest protocol. Kexthar nodded with satisfaction. His invasion fleet consisted of 47 warships, more than enough firepower to destroy every military installation on Earth 10 times over. Behind him, his bridge crew worked efficiently at their stations, completely confident in their overwhelming technological superiority. Begin Phase 1, Kexthar ordered. Target their largest moon. Full power demonstration. The fleet's main weapons charged with a deep humming sound that vibrated through every ship. Bright energy beams lanced out from a dozen vessels, converging on Earth's moon. The ancient celestial body, which had watched over human civilization for thousands of years, simply ceased to exist in a brilliant flash of light. Where the moon had been, only glowing debris remained, slowly spreading across space in an expanding cloud of destruction. Impressive display, Admiral, his tactical officer commented. The primitives must be terrified. Kexthar allowed himself a small smile. The moon's destruction was a classic intimidation tactic that had worked on every species the Dominion had ever encountered. Seeing their moon destroyed usually convinced any civilization to surrender immediately, rather than face the same fate. Open communication channels to the planet, Kexthar commanded. All frequencies. Let me speak to their leaders. The communication system activated, and Kexthar's voice was broadcast across every radio, television, and internet connection on Earth. His words were automatically translated into every human language. People of Earth, his voice boomed across the planet. I am Admiral Kexthar of the Galactic Dominion Fleet. As you have just witnessed, we possess technology far beyond your current understanding. Your moon no longer exists because we willed it so. We could just as easily destroy your entire world. On Earth's surface, billions of humans looked up at the night sky where their moon had hung for all of recorded history. In its place, they saw only a slowly expanding field of glowing debris. Kexthar continued his broadcast. However, we are not unreasonable. Surrender now, and your species will be preserved as a labor force within our galactic empire. You will be relocated to work colonies where you will serve a greater purpose than your primitive civilization could ever achieve. Resist, and your world will share your moon's fate. You have 12 of your hours to decide. The Admiral cut the communication and settled back in his command chair, expecting to receive Earth's surrender within minutes. In his experience, primitive species always chose survival over futile resistance. But something was different about Earth's response. Instead of panicked surrender broadcasts from terrified leaders, the Admiral's communication officer looked confused. Sir, we are receiving thousands of different signals from the planet's surface. Surrender messages from their various governments? Kexthar asked. No, sir. They appear to be coordination messages. Military frequencies are extremely active. They seem to be organizing some kind of unified response. Kexthar frowned. This was unusual. Most primitive species collapsed into chaos when faced with superior force. Show me their major population centers. The main screen switched to orbital surveillance of Earth's cities. Instead of panic and chaos, the Admiral saw something that made no sense. Military vehicles were moving with purpose through the streets. Aircraft were launching from bases across every continent. Naval vessels were leaving ports and taking defensive positions. Most disturbing of all, the humans were not fleeing their cities. Instead, they were fortifying them. This cannot be correct, Kexthar muttered. They just watched us destroy their moon. They know they cannot win against us. His tactical officer studied the readings. Admiral, our sensors are detecting massive energy signatures across the planet. They appear to be activating defensive systems we did not know existed. Before Kexthar could respond, his communication officer straightened with surprise. Sir, we are receiving a response from Earth. It is being broadcast on our own frequencies. Impossible. They do not have the technology to break our communication codes. Nevertheless, sir, the message is coming through clearly. Shall I put it on speakers? Kexthar nodded, expecting to hear a desperate plea for mercy from Earth's leaders. Instead, a calm female voice filled the bridge, speaking perfect galactic standard language. Admiral Kexthar of the Galactic Dominion Fleet, this is Dr. Minji Park, speaking on behalf of the United Earth Defense Council. We have received your terms and considered them carefully. Kexthar's eyes widened. Not only were the humans responding in his own language, but they claimed to have formed some kind of unified government in just a few hours. Dr. Park's voice continued. After consultation with our military leaders and civilian authorities, Earth's response is as follows. We reject your terms completely. We will not surrender our world or our people to alien invaders. We know who you are, where you come from, and what you have done to other worlds. We have been preparing for this day far longer than you realize. The bridge fell silent. Every officer stared at the communication console in disbelief. Furthermore, Dr. Park's voice grew stronger. We want you to know that your demonstration has accomplished exactly the opposite of what you intended. By destroying our moon, you have united every nation, every people, and every person on this planet against you. We have no choice now but to fight, and we intend to win. Kexthar found his voice. You cannot win against us, human. We have conquered 47 worlds. Our technology is thousands of years ahead of yours. Admiral, Dr. Park replied calmly, you have made a critical error. You assumed we were as primitive as we appeared. You were wrong. Suddenly, alarms began blaring throughout the Dominator. The tactical officer shouted over the noise. Admiral, we are detecting missile launches from the planet's surface. Thousands of them. Impossible. Their primitive rockets cannot reach us in high orbit. Sir, these are not primitive rockets. They are some kind of advanced fusion-powered missiles with stealth capability. They are accelerating faster than our own interceptor missiles. Kexthar stared at the tactical display showing hundreds of missile tracks rising from Earth's surface. They moved with a speed and agility that should have been impossible for a primitive civilization. All ships, evasive maneuvers, he commanded. Begin defensive fire. But even as his fleet scrambled to respond, more surprises came from Earth. Hidden installations across the planet revealed themselves, launching wave after wave of advanced missiles. Orbital weapons platforms that had been invisible to alien sensors suddenly powered up and began targeting the invasion fleet. Dr. Park's voice came through the chaos one more time. Admiral, you came here expecting to find helpless primitives. Instead, you found humans who have been watching you, learning from you and preparing for you. Welcome to Earth. We hope you survive the experience. The first wave of human missiles reached the alien fleet, and Admiral Kexthar realized that everything the Galactic Dominion Council knew about Earth was completely wrong. Captain Jiho Kim gripped the controls of his fighter as he dove through the clouds above Seoul, 3 alien interceptors following close behind. His aircraft shook violently as enemy energy beams flashed past his cockpit, but he kept flying straight toward his target. "Control, this is Phoenix Leader," he spoke into his radio. "Beginning attack run on the alien command ship. My escorts are gone, but I'm still flying." The massive alien vessel hung in the sky like a dark mountain, its weapons systematically destroying everything below. Jiho had watched his entire squadron get shot down one by one. But he was not going to give up, not when his home was burning beneath him. "Phoenix Leader, abort your attack." The controller's voice crackled through static. "That ship is too heavily defended." "Return to base, negative Control. I'm not leaving." Jiho pushed his engines to maximum power. "Tell my wife I love her." He switched off his radio and focused everything on his final approach. The alien ship's defensive weapons turned toward him, filling the sky with deadly energy beams. His fighter's armor began melting under the intense heat. But he kept flying forward. At the last possible second, Jiho ejected from his doomed aircraft and watched it slam into the alien ship's bridge section. The explosion was massive, and the enemy vessel began falling toward the ground out of control. As his parachute carried him down through the smoke, Jiho saw something that filled him with pride. All across the city, more human fighters were attacking the alien ships. Some were official military aircraft. Others were civilian planes modified with improvised weapons. They fought with desperate courage, ramming alien ships when their weapons failed, refusing to surrender even when facing impossible odds. On the ground, General Taeho Lee coordinated the defense from a bunker deep beneath the city. His face was grim as he watched the tactical displays showing the battle raging worldwide. "Sir, reports coming in from all fronts," his aide reported. "The aliens have landed ground forces in major cities across the globe, but they are not advancing as expected." "What do you mean?" General Lee asked. "They seem to be having trouble with urban combat, sir. Our forces are using guerrilla tactics they have never encountered before. Every building is a fortress, every street is a trap." General Lee nodded grimly. The human military had studied every alien invasion they could observe through their hidden monitoring systems. They knew these aliens were used to fighting in open space or on worlds with primitive defenders. They had never faced an enemy that turned entire cities into weapons. In New York, Colonel Yuna Kim led her Special Forces team through the subway tunnels beneath Manhattan. They had been fighting for 3 days without rest, using the underground network to strike at alien forces and disappear before retaliation could come. "Contact ahead," her point man whispered. "Alien patrol, 6 hostiles." Colonel Kim studied the enemy through her night vision scope. The aliens moved awkwardly in the tight tunnel, their advanced armor making them clumsy in the confined space. Their weapons were designed for open battlefields, not underground warfare. "Take them quietly," she ordered. Her team moved like shadows, using knives and suppressed weapons to eliminate the alien patrol before they could call for help. It was their 15th successful ambush in 2 days. But what impressed Colonel Kim most was the civilian resistance. Ordinary people had joined the fight without being asked. Office workers had become saboteurs, teachers had become weapon makers, and children had become messengers carrying vital information through areas too dangerous for soldiers. In London, engineer Wonho Choi worked frantically in a hidden laboratory, surrounded by captured alien technology. His team had been reverse engineering enemy equipment since the invasion began, learning how it worked and finding ways to defeat it. "Professor, we have analyzed their personal armor," his assistant reported. "The energy field that makes them nearly invulnerable has a critical weakness." Wonho looked up from his work. "Show me." "The field generator operates on a specific frequency. If we can create weapons that emit the exact opposite frequency, we can cancel out their protection entirely." Within hours, Wonho's team had developed new ammunition that could penetrate alien armor. The plans were immediately broadcast to resistance cells worldwide, and human fighters began building the new weapons in hidden workshops and garage laboratories. This was the pattern that was driving Admiral Kexthar to desperation. Every time his forces adapted to human tactics, the humans changed their approach. Every time they captured human technology, improved versions appeared within days. It was as if the entire human species was learning and evolving in real time. "Admiral, we have lost another dropship," his tactical officer reported. "The humans are using some kind of new explosive that our sensors cannot detect." Kexthar studied the battlefield reports with growing concern. His invasion force was designed to conquer primitive worlds quickly and efficiently. But Earth was not following any of the established patterns. "How many casualties?" he asked. 15% of our ground forces are dead or missing, sir. Another 20% are wounded and cannot continue fighting." These numbers were catastrophic. In most invasions, alien casualties were less than 1%. The humans were not just resisting, they were winning individual battles against technologically superior forces. "What about their major population centers? Have any surrendered?" "None, sir. Even cities that have been heavily bombed continue to broadcast resistance messages. Their civilians refuse to evacuate even when we target residential areas." This was perhaps the most disturbing aspect of human resistance. On every other world the Dominion had conquered, civilian populations fled from combat zones, leaving only military forces to fight. But humans seemed to view their entire species as soldiers. Dr. Minji Park had relocated her headquarters 3 times as the aliens tried to eliminate Earth's leadership. But each time they destroyed one command center, 2 more appeared. The human command structure was not centralized like alien forces. It was distributed among thousands of leaders who could operate independently. "Doctor, we have successfully hacked another alien communication satellite," her technical team reported. "We now have access to their fleet-wide tactical network." Dr. Park smiled grimly. This was why Earth had spent decades appearing primitive while secretly developing advanced technology. They had been preparing for this exact scenario. "Excellent. Begin broadcasting false orders to their ground forces. Make them think their own commanders are ordering them into our traps." The psychological warfare was working. Alien soldiers who had never faced an enemy capable of sophisticated deception began making critical mistakes. They attacked empty buildings while human forces struck their real targets. They wasted ammunition on decoy installations while resistance fighters destroyed their supply lines. Most importantly, the aliens were beginning to fear humans. Reports filtered back to the fleet of human soldiers who fought to the death rather than surrender, of civilians who would rather die than serve as slaves, of an entire species that seemed to have no concept of defeat. Captain Jiho Kim, recovered from his ejection and back in the fight, spoke into his radio as he led another attack on an alien position. "All units, this is Phoenix Leader. Remember, they might have better technology, but we have something they don't understand. We are fighting for our home." The response came from hundreds of human fighters across the globe. "Copy that, Phoenix Leader. For Earth." Admiral Kexthar listened to the intercepted human communications and felt something he had never experienced in 47 successful invasions. Doubt. These humans were not acting like any conquered species in galactic history. They were acting like they believed they could actually win. Worst of all, they were starting to make him believe it too. The emergency session on Nexar Prime was unlike any meeting in the Council's 1,000-year history. Veltar's usually calm demeanor had cracked, his yellow eyes darting nervously between the holographic reports floating around the chamber. The other council members sat in stunned silence as Admiral Kexthar's latest transmission played on the main display. "The situation on Earth has exceeded all acceptable parameters," Kexthar's image reported, his scaled face showing exhaustion and something that looked disturbingly like fear. "I am requesting immediate reinforcement with the full galactic fleet. The humans are not behaving according to any known conquest model." Mordun's mandibles clicked rapidly, a sign of extreme agitation. "This is impossible. Our intelligence indicated a primitive species incapable of unified resistance. How are they mounting such an effective defense?" "That is exactly what we need to understand," Veltar hissed. "Chinara, what do our latest scans reveal about human capabilities?" The energy being's crystalline form pulsed with disturbing colors. "Chairman, the data we are receiving contradicts everything we thought we knew about this species. They are adapting to our technology at a rate that should be impossible for any biological entity." "Explain," Veltar demanded. 3 examples from the past week alone, Chinara began, her form growing brighter with each point. First, they captured one of our communication arrays. Within 18 hours, they had not only decoded our encryption, but were using our own systems to send false orders to our forces. The chamber erupted in shocked whispers. Breaking Dominion encryption typically took advanced civilizations several years, even with captured equipment. Second, Chinara continued, they reverse-engineered our personal armor technology and developed countermeasures in less than 48 hours. Our soldiers' protective fields are now completely useless against human weapons. Theknos rumbled ominously. That is impossible. Our armor technology is based on quantum field manipulation. They do not even have a unified field theory. That is what we believed, Chinara replied. But somehow, they have not only understood our technology but improved upon it. Their countermeasures are actually more elegant than our original designs. The silence that followed was deafening. The idea that a primitive species could improve upon Dominion technology was beyond comprehension. You said 3 examples, Feltar prompted quietly. The third is the most disturbing, Chinara admitted. They have begun modifying our captured weapons to be more effective against our own ships. Yesterday, a human fighter pilot used a modified version of our own plasma cannon to destroy an entire squadron of our interceptors. Commander Soi Han had indeed accomplished exactly that, leading a desperate attack on alien forces besieging the port city of Busan. Her modified fighter, built using a combination of human engineering and captured alien technology, had outperformed anything in the alien fleet. These modifications should require decades of research and development, Mordun protested. How are they doing this so quickly? We do not know, Chinara admitted. But it appears that humans have some kind of enhanced learning capability that we did not detect in our initial surveys. They seem to understand new concepts almost instantly and immediately begin improving upon them. What the Council did not realize was that humanity's greatest advantage was not individual intelligence, but collective knowledge sharing. Every breakthrough made by Dr. Minji Park's team was immediately transmitted to resistance cells worldwide. Every tactic developed by Colonel Yuna Kim was instantly adopted by fighters on every continent. The entire human species was functioning as a single, massive research and development organization. What about their military casualties? Asked Zixara. Surely we are inflicting significant losses. Mordun consulted his tactical displays and his expression grew even more troubled. That is another anomaly. While human casualties are high, their combat effectiveness is not decreasing. In fact, it appears to be improving. Impossible, Theknos rumbled. Casualties should demoralize any fighting force. Not these humans, Mordun replied. Every loss seems to make them more determined. They are displaying combat psychology unlike anything in our databases. When we destroy one of their units, 2 more appear to take its place, usually better equipped and more aggressive than the original. This was exactly what General Taeho Lee had planned for. Human military doctrine had been completely rebuilt around the concept of total species survival. Every human was a potential soldier. Every loss was a learning experience. And every setback was motivation for greater effort. Show them the recording from the Seoul incident, Veltar ordered grimly. A new hologram appeared showing the final moments of Captain Jiho Kim's attack on the command ship. The council members watched in horrified fascination as the human pilot sacrificed his own life to destroy a vastly superior vessel. He could have ejected safely, Mordun noted. His aircraft was damaged but flyable. Instead, he chose to die in order to inflict maximum damage on our forces. This is not rational behavior, Zixara observed. Self-preservation is the strongest instinct in any intelligent species. Unless, Chinara said slowly, they value something more than individual survival. The implications of this statement sent chills through every council member. A species that valued group survival over individual life was capable of tactical decisions that no rational enemy could predict or counter. There is something else, Veltar said quietly. Show them the broadcast. The display changed to show engineer Wonho Choi's hidden laboratory. But this was not intelligence footage from their own sources. This was a direct broadcast that had been transmitted to Nexar Prime using their own communication satellites. Wonho looked directly into the camera with calm confidence. Greetings, Galactic Dominion Council. My name is Wanho Choi and I represent the Earth Resistance Technology Division. We thought you should see what we have been working on. He gestured to a table covered with alien equipment that had been completely dismantled and rebuilt. We want to thank you for the generous donations of advanced technology. Your weapons, your armor, your ships, they have all been very educational. Wanho held up a device that looked like an alien weapon, but was clearly modified with human technology. This, for example, started as one of your plasma rifles. We have increased its power output by 300%, improved its accuracy by eliminating the quantum fluctuation error in your targeting system, and reduced its weight by 40%. The council members stared in horrified silence as this primitive human casually discussed improvements to technology that had taken them centuries to develop. But that is not why we are contacting you today, Wanho continued. We wanted you to know that we have been sharing our discoveries with friends throughout the galaxy. A new image appeared showing dozens of star systems in the outer spiral arms. Each one was marked with a pulsing red indicator. These are worlds that your empire has conquered in the past 50 years. We have been in communication with the resistance movements on each of these planets. They now have access to all of our research, all of our tactical developments, and all of our improved technology. The horror on the council members' faces was complete. The implications were staggering. You came to conquer one world, Wanho said with a slight smile. Instead, you have awakened 100. Every planet you have ever dismissed as primitive has been watching, learning, and preparing. They are no longer alone, and they are no longer helpless. The transmission ended, leaving the council chamber in absolute silence. Finally, Veltar spoke in a voice barely above a whisper. How many worlds are we talking about? Morden checked his records with shaking hands. 237 conquered worlds in the past century. If even half of them rebel simultaneously, he did not need to finish the sentence. The Galactic Dominion's military forces were designed to maintain control over subjugated populations, not fight a galaxy-wide war against unified resistance movements armed with improved versions of their own technology. Admiral Kexthar is requesting the full fleet, Technos reminded them. Veltar looked around the chamber at his fellow council members and saw his own fears reflected in their faces. We cannot send the full fleet to Earth. If we do, we will lose control of our entire empire. But they all knew the terrible truth that none of them wanted to speak aloud. It might already be too late. Dr. Minji Park stood in the center of the captured alien research facility, surrounded by technology that would have seemed impossible to humanity just months before. But now her team operated the advanced equipment with casual expertise, having not only mastered alien science, but improved upon it in ways their creators never imagined. Are we ready for the final transmission? She asked her communications team. Yes, Doctor. We have control of their entire galactic network. Every world in the Dominion will hear this message. Dr. Park nodded and activated the system. Her image would soon appear in the council chambers on Nexar Prime, on the bridge of every alien warship, and on the communication screens of every conquered world across the galaxy. Greetings, Galactic Dominion Council, she began, her voice calm and confident. My name is Dr. Minji Park, and I speak for the United Earth Defense Council and the Free Worlds Alliance. On Nexar Prime, Veltar stared at the holographic image with growing dread. The human woman stood in what was clearly one of their most advanced research facilities, operating their technology as if she had been born to it. By now you have realized that your invasion of Earth has not proceeded according to your expectations, Dr. Park continued. You came expecting to find a primitive world populated by helpless savages. Instead, you found something that has shattered your understanding of how the galaxy works. Admiral Kexthar, watching from his damaged flagship in Earth's orbit, felt a chill run down his spine. Half his fleet was destroyed or disabled. His ground forces were in full retreat and human resistance was stronger than ever. Yet this woman spoke with the confidence of someone who held all the advantages. We want you to understand exactly what has happened here, Dr. Park said. For the past 60 Earth years, we have been monitoring your galactic communications. We know about your council, your empire, your conquered worlds, and your expansion plans. We have been watching you long before you discovered our existence. The revelation hit the council like a physical blow. 60 years meant that humans had been observing them since before they achieved faster-than-light travel. Back when the Dominion still considered Earth a distant, unimportant world. We made a deliberate decision to appear primitive, Dr. Park explained. We maintained the illusion of a divided, backward species while we secretly developed the technology and strategies we knew we would need to defeat you. Every war we fought among ourselves was practice. Every advancement we appeared to make naturally was actually part of a carefully planned development program. General Tai-Ho Lee appeared beside Dr. Park in the transmission. His battle-worn uniform and scarred face showed the cost of the resistance, but his eyes burned with unshakable determination. Your military tactics are designed to fight divided primitive species, he said. You have never faced a unified world that spent decades preparing specifically to counter your methods. Every strategy you have used against us was anticipated and planned for. What the aliens could not comprehend was the sheer scale of humanity's deception. While they fought their seemingly primitive wars, human scientists had been secretly developing quantum physics decades ahead of schedule. While their internet appeared to be used for entertainment, it was actually a global coordination system for the largest scientific collaboration in history. Commander Soi Han joined the transmission, her flight suit still showing scorch marks from her latest mission. Your ships are impressive, but they are designed to fight enemies who fear death. We do not fear death when we are protecting our home. That gives us tactical options you cannot predict or counter. The truth was that human military doctrine had been completely rebuilt around asymmetric warfare against technologically superior opponents. Every human pilot was trained to view their aircraft as a guided missile if necessary. Every soldier was prepared to sacrifice themselves to eliminate alien targets. Every civilian was ready to become a combatant if needed. But this transmission is not about Earth, Dr. Park said, and her voice took on a tone that sent ice through alien hearts across the galaxy. This is about what comes next. The display behind her changed to show a star map of the entire galaxy. Hundreds of worlds were marked with pulsing symbols, each one representing a planet in the Dominion's empire. For 60 years, we have been in secret communication with resistance movements on every world you have conquered. They have all been watching our preparation, learning our methods, and adapting our technology to their own situations. Engineer Wan-Ho Choi stepped into view, carrying a device that looked like nothing in the alien databases. This is the culmination of our research program, a quantum communication array that allows instant, undetectable contact across any distance. Every resistance movement in the galaxy now has access to all of our scientific discoveries and tactical innovations. The implications were staggering. The Dominion's control over their empire depended on their ability to suppress resistance movements individually, preventing coordination between distant worlds. If every conquered species could now communicate instantly and share advanced technology, the uprising begins in exactly 1 hour, General Tai-Ho Lee announced. 237 worlds will simultaneously rebel against your rule, armed with technology superior to your own, and motivated by the knowledge that they are not alone. Colonel Yuna Kim appeared on screen, her Special Forces uniform marking her as one of Earth's elite fighters. Your garrison forces on those worlds are designed to suppress primitive populations. They will not survive contact with organized resistance movements, equipped with advanced weapons and unified command structures. But Dr. Park was not finished with her revelations. We know about your homeworlds, your industrial centers, your military academies, and your population centers. We know which systems are vital to your empire's survival, and which ones are merely symbolic. We have spent 6 decades learning everything about you while you learned nothing about us. The final display showed detailed schematics of alien technology, but with human modifications that improved every system by orders of magnitude. Weapons that were more powerful, ships that were faster, armor that was stronger. This is what we have accomplished in just 4 months of open conflict, Dr. Park said. Imagine what we can accomplish in 4 years. Or 40. Admiral Kexlar realized with growing horror that Earth had never intended to simply defend itself. They had been preparing for a counterattack that would destroy the entire Dominion Empire. However, Dr. Park continued, and something in her tone offered a slim hope. We are not like you. We do not seek to conquer worlds or enslave populations. We offer you one opportunity to end this conflict peacefully. General Tai-Ho Lee stepped forward. Withdraw your forces from Earth immediately. Begin the immediate liberation of all conquered worlds and the return of all enslaved populations to their home planets. Dissolve the Galactic Dominion Council and accept supervision of your disarmament by the Free Worlds Alliance. The terms were not negotiation points. They were an ultimatum delivered by a species that had demonstrated they possessed both the capability and the will to destroy the alien empire completely. You have 12 of your standard hours to begin the withdrawal, Dr. Park concluded. If your ships are not leaving Earth's solar system by that time, we will interpret it as a decision to continue the war. In that case, humanity will begin the systematic liberation of every world in your empire, starting with your most important industrial centers. The transmission ended, leaving the council chamber in stunned silence. Veltar looked around at his fellow council members and saw his own defeat reflected in their faces. The humans had not just resisted their invasion. They had turned it into the catalyst for the complete destruction of everything the Dominion had built. They were never primitive, he whispered. They were apex predators pretending to be prey. Within 6 hours, alien ships began withdrawing from Earth's solar system. The Great Invasion was over, but the real war was just beginning. Across the galaxy, oppressed worlds were rising in coordinated rebellion, armed with human technology and inspired by humanity's example. The Galactic Dominion's age of conquest had ended. The age of human-led liberation had begun. Admiral Kexthar transmitted his final report to the Council as his battered fleet limped away from Earth. We thought we were invading a primitive world. Instead, we stumbled into the home system of the galaxy's next dominant species. They did not defeat us through superior technology or numbers. They defeated us by being exactly what we refused to believe they could be, smarter than us. Dr. Park watched the alien ships disappear into hyperspace and allowed herself a small smile. Humanity had won its first interstellar war, but more importantly, they had proven that freedom was stronger than tyranny, that cooperation was more powerful than domination, and that the galaxy's future belonged to those who chose to stand together rather than kneel alone. The stars were calling, and humanity was ready to answer.